cloud dance smell speech, the corner of the mouth cold up outline. Why can't I come back? However, I didn't expect to come back this time, and I have gained quite a lot. See, cloud dance that words, instantaneous let ye eyes facial expression changed. The sharp eyes turn to the blue you instantly, and the voice is extremely cold. Where's my thing? Things? Without waiting for Lanyu to make a sound, Cloud Dance's laughter rang out. Ha ha, do you think, in this situation, where can your things be? Mo Yebing's breath seemed to fluctuate violently in an instant. Hand over the things and leave you a whole body. Otherwise, I'll let you fall into pieces. At this time, his voice was tinged with a sense of horror and killing that seemed to climb out of hell. I could see that the contents of the box seemed very important to him. Unfortunately, it's impossible to spit out when you enter the Cloud Dance pocket. What's more, she just wanted to make him angry. The more angry, the better. Thousands of pieces? Haha, it's a good way to die, but... At this point, Yunwu burst out laughing. The cold light in Zedong sank, and his voice was extremely cold. I'm afraid you old things don't have that ability. Provocation? Just think of it as a confrontation with him. Really, at the moment when the words of Cloud Dance fell, Ink Night Ice has always been cold and expressionless face, such as the wind and rain that was infected by the attack. The fury of killing set off. Good. When I twist your sharp teeth one by one, I'll let you see if our teacher has the ability. As soon as the angry voice fell, the black air rose in the air. The temperature in the air continues to drop. In an instant, the figure of Moibing has been attacked by the strange and fierce Cloud Dance. Lan Yu. Also at that moment, Cloud Dance cold drink. She turned into a blue light and went away. Cold sharp ice, as if even the air can be frozen. When Mo Yebing reacts, her face suddenly changes, but the speed is too fast to stop the car. Whoosh! Under the blue light, Mo Yebing and his whole body's black air were frozen into a lump of ice in front of the Cloud Dance. All the movements are frozen. This scene surprised everyone present, including that Mo Bai. Lord, Dad. In this second, Yunwu did not hesitate. At the moment when the ice in the ink night freezes, Guwu Degeo instantly vacates, and thunder elements force into it. Wield a knife, under the fierce power, ruthlessly cut down the ice in front of him. It's the only time she can do it. Brush. Click. The sound of the wind is accompanied by the sound of the ice breaking. As soon as the knife fell, a strong breath directly bounced the sword away. Cloud Dance in that moment faced suddenly a change. Almost at that moment, even the reaction is too late. The attack of black gas has hit in front of us. Fortunately, a blue light instantly shrouded her. But the body, however, was still under the black air and directly flew out. As for your little trick, you should talk wildly in front of your own teachers. Hum Ink Night Ice that extremely cold disdain voice, cold of spread. But the next second, his figure, breaking through the ice, suddenly caught up with Yunwu. But not immediately. Although you are a summoner, you forget that whatever you have contracted, no matter how strong your strength is before, once contracted, your strength will be balanced by its owner. This sentence, Mo Yebing, seems to be in the general sarcasm. In front of the face of the cloud coldly said. Originally, just at the moment of being frozen, Mo Yebing felt it. 100 years ago, the terrible ice force weakened, and it was not even a little bit weak. And the only thing that happens is that it's contracted. How can Cloud Dance not know? But, surrounded by the people of the Beast Gate and the father and son, it's impossible to make a positive balance. The only chance she could escape was just that moment. However, the final defeat in her strength is too weak. Her weak, let Blue You strength didn't really send out. Damn it. But just then, you want to hurt her? Under the blue light, the figure of Lan Yu gradually appears clearly. Ink Night Ice looking at Blue Yu. Eyes dangerous squint, gloomy way. You and I have been friends for 100 years. As long as I return my things, maybe I can look at your face and consider giving her a way to live. The Blue Yu stares at him. The blue light is light to flash. In a twinkling of an eye, the figure stood in front of Mo Yebing. And this action, along with the trend will Cloud Dance to block behind. She is mine? Your thing she likes, that is her. No one can hurt her, including you. When Lan Yu said this, he didn't have much emotion, as if he was just stating a fact. He doesn't have a feeling for 100 years of friendship. In his eyes, the ink ice in front of him was just the first human he saw. That's all. And Cloud Dance is special. Ink Night Ice Smell Speech. See is that facial expression, unusual ugliness. What she likes is her. However, it is obvious that it is a bit foolish to negotiate with an Iceman. What feelings can you have for an Iceman? In that case, don't blame me for beating you back. Mo Yebing's voice is very cold. But the words are still not down. His hands have turned into bones, extremely fierce, ruthlessly throughout the blue Yu body. Immediately, the horizontal sky raises, directly throughout the blue Yu body. This scene is so familiar. It's just what he did to the dragon a few days ago. But also this scene. Let Cloud Dance mind flashed, that day in the Dragon Ching evil roof to see. It's a big blow. A very angry, no sign of burning from the bottom of my heart. Do it. Come at me. Extremely cold cheers, yells from the angry Cloud Dance mouth. Holding the hand of Guwu broadsword tightly, the body shape has quickly attacked the past. She really doesn't want to see people around her hurt for her. Shwa. The sound of the knife whistling through the air. But no matter how fast she is, in Mo Yebing's eyes, she looks like a child. Because he's been closed for a few days. Has been completely digested. A few days ago he inhaled in the body of the two opposing forces. Let his strength into a large section. Ink Night Ice easily a flash. Raise a hand. That white bone's hand. Directly intercepted Cloud Dance that waved down of ancient martial arts big knife. Looking at her, his mouth raised a sneer. Many people are willing to block in front of you, but unfortunately, anyone who dares to block my way will be killed. If, in peacetime, with the silence of the Ink Night Ice, it is bound not to say these words. But today, he was really provoked by the girl in front of him. Yes, then you'd better kill me now, or I'll tear you to pieces next time. Cloud Dance eyes angry stare at him. However, the Ink Night Ice smell speech, but not angry smile. Little girl, your tone is really crazy. In that case, I'll give you a ride after I accept your strength. Ink Night Ice eyes sharp flash, white bone clawing up, immediately want to go through the cloud belly. There is greed for the power of Cloud Dance. Last time, it was absorbed from the tendons in her hands. It was too slow. This time, directly from her abdomen dantian, one breath to absorb all her strength. Cloud Dance heart is surprised. This wanna hide. But all of a sudden, it seems to think of something. Suddenly toward that mid-air prepare to turn body to attack of Blue Yu, hit a look in the eyes. And she, just like that, does not dodge. The corners of her mouth are strange and bloodthirsty. Poof! The voice of flesh and blood. Then, an abnormal smell of blood, soon diffuse in the air and open. At that moment, Mo Yebing's eyes widened in surprise. I saw that his white bone hand, as soon as it was close to Yunwu's abdomen, had not touched it. I don't know where the purplish-red willows came out, and they directly penetrated my arms. And what scares him is, his arm, in a few seconds, became pitch black, including the white bone hand, also became black bone. It's not painful, but it's totally unconscious. He belongs to the Een body, and the poison doesn't work for him at all. But in front of me, rustle. A strange rustle came from his arm. It's like eating his flesh and blood. Mo Yebing doesn't feel pain, but her face suddenly changes at that moment. Almost in that moment, with a flash of cold light, he raised his hand and cut straight to the purple willow in his arm. The knife cut into the bone and the branch was broken. The wicker fell to the ground, like a wounded snake, making a strange, hissing sound, which made people feel like goosebumps rising. However, immediately, I saw the purplish-red wicker with a whoosh sound, suddenly ran back to Cloud Waste. But Cloud Dance also took advantage of this moment, jumped up in the air, Blue Yu, go. A sound falls down, Blue Yu immediately embraces her. As soon as the blue light flashed away, it disappeared in mid-air. All around the black-robed people, including the black and white in mid-air. I didn't respond. It's on the ground. Mo Yebing, who had cut off his arm, looked at the direction where the blue light had disappeared, and his face was very angry with cold. Again, that young girl, unexpectedly once again under his eyelids escaped. This time, it's still in full view. With his current strength, it's really like a serious shame. However, in that ink night ice full-face haze anger, he seemed to feel something surging in the back of his hand. It turned out that there was a small section of willow, which was still in his arm, sucking his flesh and blood. In the dark night, Ice's eyes narrowed darkly. He reached out and dug into the wound on his arm in public. It was a bloody scene, and the smell of blood filled the air. Half a ring, finally from the black arm flesh and blood. When the bare hand dug out that small section of the willow is still surging. Take a serious look. Only then discovered that on that willow, unexpectedly, all has innumerable sharp teeth, small mouth. It's like I'm still gnawing and eating. I'm not dead because of my broken limb. My life is still strong. Originally, Mo Yebing's face was very bad. Seeing this, he suddenly remembered that he had inadvertently obtained the information recorded in an ancient book. Is this looking at the hand that a small section of wicker, ink night ice originally bad face, suddenly strange change. A moment later, ha ha, roar of laughter broke the air. The people in black around finally reacted. Can look at that not only didn't order them to chase, but suddenly burst out laughing ink night ice. Everyone was stunned. What's going on? Is the Lord stimulated? The ink white in the air suddenly jumped down. Dad, how can you? However, did not wait for that Mo Bai to finish speaking. Mo Yebing suddenly turned around, and the hand holding the wicker immediately inserted into Mo Bai's heart. This scene stunned the people in black. The Lord's love for him is obvious to all people in the Beast Gate. But this is. As soon as it is far away from that area, Yunwu immediately lands in the air and chooses land. Yukong flight, too big target. If the National Master wants to catch up, he will be found soon. However, with the appearance and eyes of Yunwu at this time, it's too eye-catching. Therefore, after landing, Cloud Dance changed its appearance first. By the way, Lan Yu, who doesn't want to enter the contract ring, has been simplified a little. A girl of ordinary appearance, and a man of ordinary appearance with white hair. It doesn't look conspicuous. However, Lan Yu's white hair matched with her ordinary appearance set off her age. Together with Cloud Dance Station, it is estimated that it will be considered a father and daughter. The former national teacher didn't hurt you, did he? After finishing the makeup and serving, Yunwu looks at Lan Yu and asks. Although, the contract can link her and him with a special channel of communication. But for Lan Yu, I don't know if he is being soul, or if he is stronger than her. Many of her feelings about him are vague. Lan Yu looks at the Cloud Dance, as if to her present appearance, feel very strange. But he said, no, he can't hurt me. In fact, he didn't know what injury was. In addition to no one's 7 emotions and 6 desires, he did not feel any pain. Although, with the Cloud Dance contract, so that his strength can only play a balanced range. However, the National Master could not kill him. Maybe, even he didn't know what death was. He just felt that the national teacher could not hurt him. But she's different. She's so weak. Even if, let her absorb the power of his ice soul, also only enhanced a little bit. It's too weak. If it's not the National Division's opponent, it will die. He didn't like the feeling. Seems to think of this, Blue Yu eyebrow frowned. Staring at her, Wei, you, too weak. What? Yunwu was still thinking about what to do next. But suddenly, I heard him say this. What do you mean? Is she too weak? Suddenly, Yunwu felt a burst of desire to cry and no tears rose. However, at this time, but Lan Yu pointed to a certain direction of the forest, looked at her and said, there are things to make you stronger. Deep in the forest, when Cloud Dance stands on the ruins, the mood is different again. For the 3rd time. It's the 3rd time she's standing here. I don't know if it's a bad relationship. This place, no other place, is the outer Beast Gate that has been destroyed. Is that what you said here? Cloud Dance looks at nearby Blue Yu, inquired. Originally, just escaped from under the hands of the National Master, Yunwu intended to leave the Southern Warcraft Forest for the time being. At least, she didn't intend to come to her home until she became strong. But Lan Yu pointed to this direction and said that something could make her stronger. It said that something can make her stronger, even if it's Tiger's Den. Cloud Dance will also be hard to break through. What's more, it's the forest. It's just a little unexpected that he will return to the destroyed Beast Gate again. Blue Yu nods, pointed to that piece of ruins, is below. Next, Cloud Dance looked at the ruins that Blue Yu pointed to, went up, stretched out his hand to pick. How deep is it? Can we dig it out? Yes, but I can't get in. Lan Yu looks at the Cloud Dance and says a word. Can't you get in? Yunwu looks up at Lan Yu. What do you mean? Lan Yu wanted to open her mouth, but at this time, she suddenly frowned and raised her eyes to the air. That pair of ice-soul blue eyes. I swept. As soon as his body flashed, he stood beside Yunwu. It means that he is a water system, and the things below are just like him. At this time, a gentle voice suddenly came from the air. In the twinkling of an eye, see that empty sky, a figure slowly appear. It's not someone else. It's the loftiness that says she owes her a favor, but doesn't show her face from beginning to end. It's you. You're just showing up in front of me. Seeing the sublime, Yunwu's face sank, and his words didn't give face at all. Lofty, gentle smile, after walking down from the air, looked at the Blue Yu, also did not close to the cloud. I had a special identity, so it was not suitable for me to appear at that time. Speaking of this, after a pause, Gao Gao said, however, if you want something underground, I can give it to you as a favor. It's just that I need you to do me a little favor. Smell speech, Cloud Dance pick eyebrow. Help him? In terms of his strength, what else can I do for him? However, Yunwu also raised his mouth and looked at him. Now you owe me a favor. You haven't returned any of your feelings, so you want to ask me for help? Little girl, don't worry. As long as you help me, I won't let you suffer losses. There will be no small benefits. You won't regret it. Noble and gentle, he said with a smile. Cloud Dance can't trust this sublimity. However, at this time, she really needs to be strong. Maybe it's another bet. Little girl, how are you thinking? When Cloud Dance is silent, Sublime asks again. Yunwu raised her eyes to meet him. I promise you, but I'll add another condition. Lofty pick eyebrow. What condition? After helping you, you have to do me a favor, just as mutual help in that way. No one owes anyone. How about that? After hearing this, I didn't think much about it. It was very straightforward. Yes. Would you like to come in with me? Or, when I bring it out to you? Sublime means, of course, going underground. Cloud Dance looks blue and quiet. However, without waiting for her to speak, Lan Yu schwa and entered the contract ring on her finger. Obviously, let her in. Let's go. At this time, lofty figure in a flash, stood beside Yunwu. Reach out, put on the shoulder of Cloud Dance, the figure of two people, disappear immediately in situ. The Cloud Dance hasn't reacted yet, and I feel the darkness in front of my eyes. When she came back, she was already standing in a cave. On both sides of the cave, there are wall lights. Although the light is dim, it can generally illuminate the surroundings. At a glance, we can see that this cave must have been dug by hand. I didn't think that there was such a cave underground. However, seeing this cave, inexplicably, Yunwu suddenly thought of the cave in Hurricane Cliff. No, this cave is linked there, right? At this time, without waiting for Yunwu to think about it, he heard several footsteps. Yunwu's face sank. Sublime but smile. Suddenly, see his hand a brush. A light white fog vacated and immediately shrouded them. Sure, just keep quiet. Keep quiet? Cloud Dance frowns at him, and at this time, a few people in black robes with masks come from the other side of the passage. When Yunwu looked at them, they just couldn't see them, just walked past them. Cloud Dance can't help but be surprised. However, it soon became clear that it must be this noble ability. But, can let a person stealth? Is the strength has reached what degree? Or what skills were used? Come on, follow me. After those black-robed people left, Gao Xing said with a smile to Yunwu. There are several passages around the cave. As for where to extend, I don't know for a while. Along the way, I met many people in black, but the black-robed people seemed to be unable to see her. They walked half a column of incense and finally stopped in front of the stone gate of a passage. Gao Gao turns his head and looks at the clouds behind him. With your blood, open the door by yourself. What? Open the door with her blood? The cloud dance obviously along, until, when the line of sight sees the ancient totem on that stone gate. That totem, too familiar. Because, from the two small boxes she got, there were such ancient totems. As like as two peas, it is almost the same carving. Just, how can that totem appear on the stone gate here? Little girl, don't be stunned. Hurry up. It's hard to let that person come back and take what you want. Sublime urges. Just now, you didn't say you could take it by yourself. You can open it without my blood, can't you? He means, is he really calculating something? Cloud Dance suddenly narrowed his eyes. Vigilance rose in the fundus of his eyes. Seeing her vigilance, Gao Gao sighed. Forget it, you little girl. You are very suspicious. I'll do it myself. See to a door a master to turn. A jade bottle immediately appears in his palm. Then, the noble opened the jade bottle and poured the blood into a small slot in the stone gate. At that moment, a faint black light came out from the slot. The blood of the witches of the dark family. Cloud Dance and see that light. Eyebrows instantly wrinkle. It seems that she can feel the blood instinctively. It's a strange feeling. Sublime did not look back. It's the queen's blood saved from you. I left a little for use. At the same time, Sublime continues to extend the blood in the jade bottle to the other end along the notch. The black light on the door became more and more obvious. Smell the cloud dance of speech. Pick eyebrow. Queen Snow Willows? Yunwu didn't plan to ask him about the situation after he rescued Xuelyo. However, it seems that he had made preparations for it early in the morning. Was he prepared to come here before? However, at the time of Cloud Dance thinking, click, the sound of a switch being activated. Cloud Dance can't help but withdraw mind, staring at the fan, gradually began to separate toward the two sides of the stone door. The faint black light still surrounds the stone gate, but the high temperature inside came at the moment when the stone door opened. It's very hot. However, when the heat came, Yunwu felt the inexplicable surge in the blood. It's like something in the blood resonates with something in it. Go in, go in. It seems to feel that the temperature has been pouring out. As soon as he catches Cloud Dance, Sublime will flash in. As soon as they came in, the stone gates on both sides of them closed, isolating the heat that they wanted to pour out. Once inside the stone gate, the whole person is like entering the oven. The hot sweat is evaporated in an instant. But Yunwu found that the loftiness around her didn't seem to be affected at all. So we can see the gap between the two. However, the cloud dance soon attracted attention from another scene. Behind the stone gate is a space of more than 100 square meters, with nothing. It's just a little fire floating in the middle of the sky. But it's just a small fire that lights up the whole space. It burns the temperature of the whole space. If ordinary people come in, they will be steamed directly by the temperature here. What you want is that one. Go and catch it, and you can leave. At this time, Sublime also did not come forward. The Chaoyun dance said a word. Catch? I saw that. Just under the lofty words, the small fire seemed to tremble, and the temperature around it obviously increased a lot. Is it conscious? Cloud Dance looked at the small fire in the mid-air, but didn't catch it as Lofty said. Instead, almost naturally, he reached out to it. Come here. Gentle words, careful like to treat children. And also in the Cloud Dance, the sound just fell. The little fire that floated in mid-air trembled again. Come here. I'll take you away. Cloud Dance steps forward, purple pupil eyes flash, quietly staring at the small fire, soft mouth. See, in her purple eyes flash, soft voice under. The small fire in mid-air, like a hesitation, really began to come down slowly. One side of the lofty, see this scene, can't help eyebrow pick. The fundus interest deepened a bit. However, there was no action, just standing by and watching. When the small fire touched the palm of Cloud Dancing, the high temperature around obviously dropped in an instant. The warm touch makes Yunwoo's eyes soften. Good boy. Don't be afraid. After saying it softly, Cloud Dance heart read a move, the group of small fire, to the income of the small stink of the fire within the contract ring. Though, feel out, that regiment small fire seemed to be able to enter her body blood, thus improve her strength. However, this time and place are not right. After putting away the small fire, Yunwoo turned around and looked at the noble. Let's go. In fact, just now she has been on guard. Who knows if there will be any calculation in this sublimity. However, he didn't do anything else, but he kept his word. Lofty gentle smile, hand a brush, white fog immediately and 2 people to cover. Don't make a sound. I saw that after a while, the stone gate was opened. 2 people in black robes with masks, as if feeling something, came from the door in a hurry. When I saw the small fire disappeared in the space, my voice suddenly started. The fire is gone. Come on, tell the Lord. When the 2 men in black opened the stone gate, Sublime and Cloud Dance are so above board, and left that cave, lofty with clouds, directly toward the direction outside the forest. Where to? Cloud Dance looked at the lofty leading the way ahead and asked, although promised to help him, but he did not say what to help him. Gao Gao didn't turn his head back, but still moved forward slowly. A small town at the junction of the 3 kingdoms. I'll take you to meet someone. Meet someone? Cloud Dance looked at him. Is that what you want me to do? Yes, but you may have to be patient. When I get what I want, you will be safe and free. What do you mean? Cloud Dance frowned at his words. However, this meaning soon made her understand what it meant. Border town at the junction of the 3 kingdoms. This is a small town full of people. However, the only characteristic of this small town is that there are so many strange things. It's like a flowing market of 3 countries. As long as you can imagine, or even cannot imagine, almost can be seen in this small town, by when you come to this small town with nobility. Yunwoo could not help but be attracted by the things on the street. Little girl, this small town thing can only be regarded as a low-level thing. When you have the chance, go to the upper boundary and have a look. It's really a good thing there. Gao Sheng seems to notice that Yunwoo looks at the sight of the streets around him with a smile. However, his words are thought-provoking. Cloud Dance smells speech. Can't help but side head to see to him. Upper bound? Where is that? Lofty shrugged, but did not seem to answer her. Seeing that he opened the topic, but he didn't intend to answer, Yunwoo felt depressed at the bottom of his heart. However, since he did not answer, she did not keep asking. In that way, with Lofty, 2 people walk in such a very crowded street. It's just very soon. Yunwoo found that everyone walked by her and gave her a strange look. I don't know why. People feel that there is a strange feeling that something is wrong all over. Cloud Dance frowned. However, it seems that there is nothing unusual about the sublime, and Cloud Dance temporarily suppresses the strange feeling. For a while, Gao Gao finally passed the market street and came to a more remote path. Along the way, the pace is very slow. It seems that they are heading for a house in front of them. By the way, why haven't you heard of such a small town at the junction of the 3 kingdoms before? What's the name of this town? At this time, the Cloud Dance to sweep an eye all around, seemed very casually asked a sentence. When she just entered the town, she didn't see the font on the plaque. It's called Shanggu Town. This town has existed for thousands of years. However, the pestle is located in a special place. It's hard to find ordinary people. Sublime that indifferent voice, inexplicably meaningful said, Ancient town? Yunwoo searched all the information in his mind, but it didn't seem to find any information. However, for his last words, eyebrows raised. Special? Cloud Dance can't help but turn his head and look at the sublime. What's a special method? There are so many people coming and going in this town. Aren't they ordinary people? Sublime smells speech, but suddenly laugh inexplicably profound. You girl, it's not easy at all. Don't try to talk from me again. There are some things that you don't know too much for you. At this time, the pace of Sublime has stopped. All right, here we are. Cloud Dance wanted to say something, but at this time, it can only stop. I looked up at the ordinary hut in front of me. This is it. Well, Sublime and nodding, a handbrush. Suddenly, a rope lock came out of nowhere and tied her hands tightly. All of a sudden, Yunwoo frowned. However, there was not much reaction. After helping you, don't forget what you promised me. Cloud Dance stares at Lofty low voice to say. Lofty and gentle smile. Rest assured. At the end of the speech, he reached over her shoulder. Bang! I saw that the door of the hut was suddenly opened by a force. The two figures at the door have turned into a flash of light. Luxury mansion. Everywhere is glittering. There is a kind. Fell into the money nest in general. When Yunwoo is brought into the hut by Sublime. In front of all that, all in a twist, the earth-shaking changes. It turned out that what we saw outside was just a cover-up. The real house. It's resplendent and luxurious. The whole palace is like a big house with endless luxury. What kind of place is this? It's hard to understand. However, when Cloud Dance saw the situation inside, it couldn't help being surprised. In the living room, just after Cloud Dance was sublimed, it didn't appear for a while. A middle-aged man came out of the back room slowly. As soon as he came out, the middle-aged man's eagle-like eyes were locked on Yunwoo. In that line of sight, Yunwoo frowned tightly, because she suddenly had a strange feeling of being watched by the wolf in the wolf's nest. This middle-aged man looks ordinary. He looks just like an ordinary man. But is it true? Naturally, it's impossible. Just because he can make a deal with Sublime, we can guess that he can't be as ordinary as he appears. You're late. You said 3 days. It's the 7th day. The middle-aged man swept around Yunwoo before he took his eyes back and looked at the noble voice. There was a tone of dissatisfaction with the seller after looking at the goods. Sublime is still not slow, Sven said with a smile. It's really a little delayed, but she got it back from that Imo Yebing's hand. It seems that it's not surprising that she was delayed for a few days. See, Ink Night Ice 3 words. The middle-aged man's face sank. But soon, the middle-aged man's sharp eyes flashed a smile. Good. Good. After 2 good words, the middle-aged man came forward. His eyes were burning. He looked at the Cloud Dance, and he wanted to catch it. However, before he touched his hand, Yunwoo's figure had moved. Lofty looking at the middle-aged man. What do I want? The middle-aged man raised his eyes and frowned. However, he turned his head and made a sign to the attendant. Then, a servant came out with a wooden box in his hands and handed it carefully to the middle-aged man. This is what you want. After the middle-aged man handed the wooden box to Gao Chong, he quickly stretched out his hand and pulled Yunwoo over. At the moment of being dragged by the middle-aged man, Yunwoo's eyes flashed. However, it is also tolerable. However, as soon as he got close, he felt the breath of the middle-aged man, but Cloud brows tightened. Because she actually felt a very familiar breath from him. Is it the Witch Clan? Is he a wizard? At the time of confirming the breath, a little surprise flashed from the bottom of Yunwoo's heart. This is the third which she met besides Xuelio. According to the old man down the hurricane cliff, the witch people, are they all exterminated? Well, I've given it to you. You can go. As soon as the middle-aged man finished speaking, he grasped Yunwoo and was ready to leave. But it was then. Shwa. A flash of cold. In the twinkling of an eye, a dagger was on the neck of the middle-aged man. I saw that the rope lock, which was binding Yunwoo's hands, had disappeared. Cloud Dance coldly looked at the middle-aged man in front of him and said, Are you a member of the witch family? When the middle-aged man heard of it, his eagle eyes sank obviously, and a strange and inexplicable breath gradually surged up. It's true that she is the successor of the witch saint. She can feel it just by her breath. But soon, you won't be. When the middle-aged man said that, the pair looked at her eagle eyes, extremely hot and greedy. Not soon? What does he mean? However, at this time, Yunwoo suddenly felt that a strange breath gradually surrounded her, as if she was imprisoned. All the movements, they're stiff. How could that be? Yunwoo frowned tightly. But the heart reads a move, is preparing to let Blue Yu come out of time. After checking the loftiness of the things in the wooden box, he finally said, Mr. Jean, you are not right. You only give a part of the good things. Are you kidding me? The voice was flat, but it was also at that moment. A white breath, directly on the cloud dance shrouded. The cloud dance, which was originally stiff, was immediately dragged back by a force. In the twinkling of an eye, cloud dance has been standing by the lofty side. All of a sudden, the middle-aged man, Mr. Jean, suddenly became cold. Canthus angrily looked at him. Sublime, what do you mean? I see that people have already got it, but they haven't caught the heat yet. People have been taken back. How can we not be angry? The gentle smile on Gao Gao's face has sunk. Strange Izine San stare at him. This sentence, I want to ask you just right, say good things, you only give a part, is to want to lift my appetite? I saw that under the lofty voice, the oppressive force in the air was overwhelming. In an instant, the middle-aged man knelt down on the ground. Cloud Dance sees this, in the heart suddenly surprised. What is the point of this lofty strength? The pressure in the air made her feel difficult to breathe. Jean Lao, who was kneeling on the ground, looked very gloomy, but he was also shocked. What is only part of it? That's all I got. All? Sublime eyes under the cold. Are you sure? This is all? Under the gloomy words, the oppressive force in the air seemed to increase several times again. Old Jin's forehead was already sweating. His face was flushed and his eyes were congested. This is really all I got. It seems that you are not going to make the deal. Sublime a cold fall, hand a brush. Bang. I saw that Jean Lao, who was oppressed on the ground, was directly hit by some force and flew out. It hit the pillar in the hall. This situation, but let the cloud dance that one side looks at, some sign long. However, she is absolutely not stupid. How can we not see that there is something fishy about it? It's sublime. It's really high-minded. It's too high. Endure pain. From the ground to climb up the old gold, ugly face, raised his head, looking at the angry noble. There was some fear in my heart. At the beginning, he got such a thing. It seemed that it was really incomplete, but he did offer all that he had. But he can see that Lofty at this time of mood fluctuations seems to be really angry. What's more, with his strength and identity, he is unlikely to play tricks. Is that thing really lacking? Mr. Jean was puzzled. This is really all I've got. You, with your ability, don't you know that this is only part of it? You don't deal with me once or twice. You should be very clear about your temper. Before he finished, Sublime's gloomy voice had fallen, and sublime that words, but also with a thorn like, directly stuck behind that gold old wanna say all words. When you find all the things for me, I will give them to you. When he finished, he brushed his hand. In an instant, a rope lock trapped Yunwoo, dragged her and left towards the door. Jean Laoru is dumb and eats coptis, such as the eagle's eyes incomparable haze, watching the lofty with the clouds away, full of stomach, with anger. But half a voice also did not pit, had to double fists tightly clenched, ruthlessly bit the root of the tooth. As soon as I leave that ancient town, lofty than a whisk hand, that bind on the cloud dance body of rope, immediately turned into a white fog, disappeared. Little girl, don't look at me like that all the time. I'll feel embarrassed. Lofty that face, restored that gentle smile again. Excuse me? Will he feel embarrassed? Yunwoo loosened his bound hands and feet and glanced at him. I need to be careful when dealing with you in the future. It's as if I've heard something praising. Haha, with a smile, he seemed to be in a happy mood. You little girl, you can speak well, but this is what I taught you. In the future, you can rely on your wisdom. Many things cannot be solved by fighting and killing. With that, Sublime has put his hands on his shoulders and stepped forward to leave. Looking at the lofty leaving, Yunwoo couldn't help frowning. But the next second, the elements of body style soared and caught up. Now that I'm busy, it's time to talk about the conditions with you. After hearing the words, Gao Gao suddenly said with a smile, "If it's about your little man, it's unnecessary. His ability is far more than you think. You'd better think about your own problems." However, the cloud dances, but the corner of the lip rises. Who said that my condition is related to him? For the dragon, she never looked down on her man. How can ability small? This time, Sublime is to pick next brow. Tell me about it. Cloud danced with his speed, turned his head to look at him. With your ability, you should know a lot about the witch clan. What I want you to help is actually very simple. That is, help me unseal it, said. Cloud danced from the neck, took out the necklace. Gao Wei glanced over his head and stopped when he saw the necklace. There seems to have been a trace of surprise in the eyes. The holy things of the witches? It seems that he really knows a lot about the witches. Yes, it shouldn't be difficult for you to unseal it with your ability. Originally, Yunwu didn't intend to let others know. However, she tried to use her blood to unseal, but still failed. Bai Lao has been sealed for a long time. Sublime smell speech, double pupil Mao uncanny. Look up to her. Unseal it. Really not difficult. But, you really are sure? Let me help? Cloud Dance frowns. What do you mean? Looking at her, Gao Gao suddenly gave a smile. You girl, but it's really interesting. However, it was just when he said that. Suddenly, a strong force, suddenly straight attack to the cloud's chest. It's very fast. Almost did not give Yunwu the opportunity to react. Her figure was directly hit down the land. Bang! Huge impact sound. From the ground, white dust raised. Wait for the dust to settle. I saw a deep pit on the ground of the grove, and the figure of Cloud Dance is half kneeling in the pit, his face white. As soon as I take a breath, my throat is sweet. Poof! A mouthful of dark red blood immediately sprayed out. A lot of it splashed on the necklace around my neck, and at that moment, a scorching heat came out of the necklace around her neck. Straight melt destroyed that piece of clothing, scalded the skin under Cloud Dance's clothes. Zizi, under the sound of the sound, spread a smell of burnt barbecue. It hurts. But for this degree of burning, for Cloud Dance, it's really only pediatrics. She just felt that she was very happy at the bottom of her heart. Because, at this moment, she really felt that the seal inside the necklace seemed to have been opened. Next, a black mist came out of the necklace. The light is so strong that it seems to cover the white sky into night. It's weird and powerful. The loftiness in midair. Looking at this scene, the streamer in those two pupils flickered secretly. Is this the power of the sorcerer's sacred objects? He whispered to himself. Half a ring. The sky that dark clouds, dark light, seems to gradually begin to converge. When the sky is clear, the clouds in the pit on the ground, a faint black fog, surrounded her chest, as if, in the treatment for her, just hit the internal injury. Ben's face had turned white. When the light completely disappeared, a white shadow also floated out slowly from under the black fog. At the sight of the white shadow, the cloud danced in surprise. White old man. White old man is still Whitebeard. White hair, almost all white but in the moment of appearance. White old, that pair of benevolent eyes, but ferocious across a anger. Strong black fog, in that instant, straight attack midair that lofty and go. Bang! There was another loud crash. When Yunwu leaped from the pit, he saw that there was another pit not far away, and originally a gentle noble temperament, at this time quite embarrassed standing in the pit, is patting the clothes on the body. What a violent spirit! However, the murmur of Sublime fell. Bai Lao's figure had gone away, and he stood on the pit. He glanced at him coldly. You almost killed her. Lofty lift eyes, looking at that empty white shadow of white old. Then he made a volley and returned to the ground. Just helpless way. You old man, just wake up. Don't ask me. How don't you ask her? This help you unseal who is. His words made Bai Lao squint. However, at this time Cloud Dance also walked forward, raised eyes to see that lofty. After the event, we're clear. It didn't explain much. As for this sublimity, the more you come into contact with him, It seems that he knows more than she thinks. How could he know the white spirit? This makes Yunwoo feel insecure. I also feel a kind of terror. She can't see him clearly, but he seems to be able to see through all her abilities. Lofty pulled to pull the corner of mouth, glanced at that white old, just saw I cloud dance. It's really clear. However, I promised that I would give you some benefits before, which naturally won't make you suffer. Said, Lofty did not know from where took out a jade bottle, after hand, threw toward her in the past. This is Xingyuan Shindan. With the fire you received before, you should be able to improve your strength. Girl, I hope we can meet again. Then I'll tell you something about your mother. Sublime before leaving, but suddenly left behind such a sentence. When Yunwoo wanted to ask clearly, his figure had disappeared in the sky. What does he mean? Tell her about her mother? Does he know her mother's whereabouts? Looking at the direction of Lofty departure, Cloud brow tightly screwed up. Although, the last sentence left by Gao really affected Yunwoo's mood. However, Bai Lao was relieved of the seal, which made Yunwoo happy. With Bai Lao, on this lost road in a strange world, it is equivalent to having a lamp. Yunwoo is in the contract with the holy things of the witch family. Thus, from Bai Laoku, she also knew a lot about the witch clan. However, this did not make her a little relaxed. On the contrary, let her feel the pressure on the shoulder. It seems to have increased a bit. Witches. For this world, it is a sacred group. But in the eyes of Yunwoo, it is like a heavy burden. Since when, she has changed from a killer without any concern to the hope of the whole witch clan. In fact, even Cloud Dance itself does not know. However, the only thing she knows now is to make her strength stronger. So, since that day, Yunwoo didn't rush to go anywhere. And in that grove, found a more hidden cave. Enter the so-called closed door. The absorption of fire into the body, plus the sublime Xingyuan God pill. In the process of absorption, there are still several twists and turns. Finally, let Cloud Dance fall into deep sleep. However, this time, with Bai Lao's guard, she had no worries. Inside the cave, all around a quiet, silent silence. Only a white shadow, quietly floating in the air. The quiet guardian, the girl sitting on the stone below. Day after day. How many days and nights have passed? I don't know about Cloud Dancing. She just felt like she had a long, long sleep. When she opened her eyes again, those purple eyes flitted over a layer of purple fog. People look at it as if they can be absorbed. It's weird. However, at this time Cloud Dance did not notice. Wake up. In the air came the deep voice of Bai Lao. Cloud Dance hears the sound. This just looked up to the white elder in the mid-air. The corner of the mouth slowly outlines. Hard you, white elder. This sleep made her sleep very comfortable. It seems that she has been promoted in a certain class both physically and mentally. Samurai's peak class. The strength has been improved well. Bai Lao looked at her and felt her breath. When he swished up, he couldn't help picking the white eyebrow. It seems that even he was surprised. However, Yunwoo seems to keep a calm attitude towards this. It's strange. This sleep let her feel as if even the whole mind have been an unprecedented liberation. It seems that this samurai stage is just the beginning. Behind is the real beginning, however. Just then, Bai Lao suddenly looked up and looked at the hidden hole. There's someone out there. Cloud Dance also swept along the hole. In fact, just when the footsteps came from a distance, she already felt it. And it is those footsteps that wake her up. It doesn't matter. It should be passing by. Cloud Dance light say, mind, but is toward her contract ring to explore. Before, Xiao Stink and Bai Shuer were injured and fell asleep. Now, it should be okay. That's true. With the improvement of her strength, they not only recovered, but also improved. Even Hongling, who is in the same contract with Xiaoqiu, seems to have improved a lot. As soon as I feel the Cloud Dance, my heart goes in, and I'm obviously excited. Seems to want a Cloud Dance, put it out. However, it is at this time. The sound of footsteps approaching the entrance of the cave. After a while, I saw a few figures and came into the door in a hurry. What kind of weather is it? The weather was fine just now. It rained when it rained. Yes, it's really bad luck. It's hard to catch up, but there's such a heavy rain again. Come on, stop whining and start a fire. There were 5 young men, 3 men and 2 women, coming in through the cave. They were all wet and muttering. However, the third person has not finished. When they saw the cloud dance in the cave, they were all stunned. Obviously, there are other people in this cave. However, when they saw that Na was just an ordinary girl, the 5 soon recovered. The leader was a girl in red. When I saw the cloud dance, I grinned. Girl, I'm sorry. We're students who went to Shinwang Samurai Academy to register. Just in time for the heavy rain, we came in to take shelter from the rain. I hope we didn't disturb you. The other 4, also quite polite, nodded to Chaoyun. After that, 5 young people didn't pay much attention to cloud dance because they didn't make a sound. Instead, they cooperated. They picked up some weeds and leaves in the cave and built a fire at the entrance of the cave. 5 people were sitting around the fire. But, from time to time, he looked out of the cave, as if to see if the rain had stopped. Cloud Dance, still sitting on the stone, looking at them, did not say much. However, for what they just said, they couldn't help pondering for a moment. Many days passed in her deep sleep. Is today the day for the King Warrior students to sign up? In fact, with the current strength of Cloud Dance, there is no need to enter the college to learn anything. However, this trip to the college, she had to go. Because, according to the records of the Dragon Scroll, the 4th map of the Summoning Temple is within the college. It's just, girl, are you going to sign up, too? At this time, the girl in red asked again. The cloud dance that comes back from meditation looks up at the girl in red. I wanted to talk, but at this time, the girl in red was surprised. Girl, you are a pair of purple eyes, okay. Then, before she finished her words, she was curious to stare at the corners of Yunwu's purple eyes, and suddenly her pupils gradually enlarged and emptied almost no seconds. The girl in red was stunned, her eyes empty. Miss Xia, what's the matter with you? See, the girl in red suddenly did not move, motionless standing there, sitting around the fire. One of the teenagers can't help frowning at the girl in red called A. But the girl in red didn't move. The boy suddenly found something wrong and got up. When you see the girl in red, her eyes are empty. The boy's face suddenly changed. He quickly drew out his sword and pointed to Yunwu. What did you do to her? And just under the young man's cheering, the other 3 men's faces sank. Brush out the sword, extremely alert to the cloud. What did you do to her? What did she do? The cloud dance sitting on the stone is still at a loss. She really didn't do anything. However, Yunwu also noticed that the girl in red suddenly had empty eyes. What's going on? However, at this time, that floats in the mid-air, the invisibility has not appeared white old, as if the voice also has some consternation to spread. Girl, you have already reached the 7th level of your mind control skill? 9 levels are the highest. What? The 7th floor? When hearing Bai Lao's words, Yunwu was stunned. Obviously, I can't react. Isn't her mind control skill on the 2nd floor? How did you suddenly reach the 7th floor? During this period of time, she could almost say that she had never practiced it specially. However, Cloud Dance does not know. The highest state of mind control is to improve unconsciously. In particular, the purer her witch blood is, the purer her cultivation power will be. But obviously, for this layman's Cloud Dance, it's still a bit out of touch. You are a pair of purple eyes, so you are the girl the queen is looking for. You. At this time, it seems that they also noticed the purple pupil of Yunwu. One by one, their faces changed, and the bottom of their eyes sank coldly. Some time ago, the queen almost looked for a woman with a pair of purple pupils all over the country. Though, I don't know why. However, it is not a good person to be pursued by the royal family with a reward. However, when the 4 people stare at Yunwu's purple pupil, for people's minds seem to be attracted by that moment. Almost without warning, the 4 people's eyes gradually began to spread, empty. In fact, Cloud Dance really didn't do anything specially. But when she's relieved, the 4 young men, like the girl in red, had empty eyes and were stiff in the same place. This is the 7th level of mind control. Is it possible to be photographed just by looking at it? Is it really that horrible? Yunwoo himself was fooled for a moment by the situation in front of him, but at this time, a strange wave came from the entrance of the cave. Immediately, a shout set off, "You monster! How dare you do evil here?" A very fast cold, from the mouth of the rapid attack to the cloud. That figure is quick, incomparable. Strong breath carries that cold on, almost merciless attack. The clouds dancing on the rocks in the cave, when I feel the breath. Frowning, purple eyes coldly looked to the location of the hole. It's strange, even if it's fast, but in her eyes, it was like being slowed down. When she saw the person clearly, her eyes suddenly became cold, almost in a flash. Belongs to the samurai breath, suddenly out. In an instant, he brushed his hand directly, and then he flew out of the attack. But at this time, outside the cave, another figure flashed in. Strong breath moved out, just want to attack Cloud Dance. But all of a sudden, the man seemed to see something. His pupils shrank and his breath suddenly closed. The figure retreated. Change hands and catch the figure that just flew out. "It's you, girl." A rather surprised voice suddenly rang out. The Cloud Dance sitting on the stone seems to be relieved in the cold eyes when it hears the sound. "Why are you here?" Yunwoo looked at the old man, his mouth slightly raised. The voice, however, is light and cloudless. These two people are no other than Yunqi and Yunling. Just yelled her fairy, sharp hand. Nature is that cloud cold E. As soon as Yunqi is stable, her eyes are surprised to see the Cloud Dance in the cave, and her mood fluctuates greatly. However, he was really surprised. Samurai breath? Has this girl reached the stage of great warrior? Although it is said that the girl summoner was in the Wuzuan stage, it is said that it is a rumor after all. Now, he actually felt the strong breath of the girl and the great warrior. It was hard for him to calm down. How long has this girl been gone? It's just less than 2 months. In the past 2 months, she went from 7 steps to the samurai. It's really amazing. What a natural gift. However, for the surprise of Yunqi, it's just like the couple who seem to know Yunwoo. One side of Cloud Cold E, but his puzzled frown. "Dad, do you know this enchantress?" "Which?" As soon as Yunling's words came down, Yunqi was surprised and his face sank. He turned his head, gave him a look and said, "If she is a witch, what are you?" Yunlong, who was suddenly scolded, is really full of fog. What happened to him? However, after taking a serious look at Yunwoo and noticing her purple pupils, Yunlingji suddenly narrowed her eyes. Seems to think of something. "It's you and his, it's you," makes Yunqi quite satisfied. It seems that his dull son has finally found out the identity of the girl. But Yunqi's satisfaction didn't last for a few seconds. Yunling's voice was cold in a moment. "You are the black-faced girl who destroyed my deputy's arm in the battle with Phoenix and Beast a few months ago, aren't you? You dare to appear in front of me again in this world. How many normal people have purple eyes? What's more, not long ago." The royal family has also issued a notice that they are looking for women with purple eyes all over the country. Although, the appearance on the notice was different from the black face he saw. But there's probably no one else besides her. I didn't expect that this woman, now hiding here, would murder some young people. Think about it. Cloud cold eyes, a cool light sink that belongs to the majestic momentum of the general instant vacate. It's time to start again. Pala. The sound of a slap was suddenly ringing in the cave. Seeing that Yunqi was black, he slapped him on the back of Yunling's head. "You are an unfilial son. I don't know how you are. Your own daughter can't recognize her. Do you want to annoy me?" Yunqi seems to be very angry. His angry voice almost collapses the cave. However, as soon as his words fell, Yunlong was stunned. Forget the back of the head pain. Eyebrows suddenly tightened. His daughter? What do you mean? His father is crazy, isn't he? Why didn't he know he had such a daughter? No, how could he have such a daughter? Cloud Lungy frowns and looks up. Seeing Cloud Dance, he takes back his sight. He is about to turn his head and talk to Yunqi. At this time, Yunqi directly ignored him. Grinning, he walked towards the cloud dance. 9 winches, don't be angry. You're so skillful that you can hardly recognize your grandfather. In fact, if not for his sharp eyes to see cloud dance this pair of purple pupil, he also really can't recognize. Looking at Yunqi coming over, there was no obvious emotional fluctuation on Yunwu's face. This old man is really smart. Although he slapped Yunlungi. However, in front of her face, she divulges her identity to Yunlungi. And this 9 winches also let Cloud Coldy know directly. She is the Cloud Dance of Cloud family ranking 9th. It's worthy of the title of Old Fox. However, since he was so careful, Yunwu didn't break him. Anyway, she is Yunwu's identity. Sooner or later, she will let Yunlingji know. It doesn't matter. I stood up from the stone, loosened my muscles and bones, and the bones of my body made a click sound. When you feel comfortable. Yunwu just looked up at Yunqi with a smile. Grandfather. A word, grandfather. Instant let behind cloud cold eye, the whole person is stiff. Originally that dignified deep eyes, brush a wave of shock like consternation. Is she really his daughter? The sick little girl with 0 talent since childhood? How possible? The strong breath that just knocked him off was stronger than him. How could she be that sick trash? How could it be his little daughter? At the moment when Yunlingyi's body is stiff, his eyes are staring at Yunwu tightly. Deep in his eyes, he can't believe it. It seemed that he couldn't believe it anyway. However, it is at this time. It flashed through his mind a few months ago. The strange words she said when she faced him on that battlefield. She said that her relationship with him from now on is the same as the dagger that broke and turned into dust in the wind. At that time, he really didn't understand what she meant. So never mind. But now, I don't know why, Cloud Coldy heart inexplicably draw for a while. His face also changed a lot. Is she really his little daughter, Yunwu? Even if the heart again how can't believe, can when looking at Cloud Dance pulled down the face that piece of common appearance. Yunlingyi seemed to shake suddenly. In those eyes, there was almost no hidden surprise and fluctuation. Because it's so similar. It's so similar. With him has been quietly buried in the bottom of my heart that face, really like too much. He always thought that he had forgotten. Can see off the mask, showing the real face of the Cloud Dance, the bottom of the heart that wave, but still very clear set off. When Yunqi saw Yunwu's face, his eyes lit up. Instant, that old face can't help but smile deep into few minutes. It turns out that our 9 girls are so amazing. Good. It's really good. In fact, it's vulgar to describe her with 2 words, amazing. However, Yunwu didn't feel much about her appearance. The reason why she regained her appearance in front of them was also for the later. Wait a minute, grandfather. Take me to the King of the Gods and Warriors College to sign up. Before, I thought that I could use the identity of Emperor Zhoubatian to send her directly to Shenwang Warrior Academy with Longsan. But in the meantime, so much has happened. She is worried, no certificate, how to enter the college. Right now, since both Yunqi and Yunlingyi are here, it's only natural that they can enter as Yunwu. Cloud Dance did not last long after its appearance was restored. Just in front of Yunqi and Yunlingyi, she uses her magical way to change her face to restore her pale and sick face. Is as like as 2 peas in the first place. I don't know why. Looking at Yunwu now, Yunlingyi has no choice but to treat her as the sick little daughter in the mansion. But just now, he was shot out by her. If it wasn't for Yunqi, I'm afraid he would be embarrassed enough. As long as it's a normal person, I don't think it's possible to treat her as the waste before. Yunlingyi just feels that he is inexplicably depressed at the bottom of his heart. For a while, I didn't say a word. In fact, it's the first time that Yunqi has seen Cloud Dance as a means of changing appearance. The heart is dark, surprised to turn. Under his hand, there is also a transvestite master. Otherwise, I would not have got a person like Yunwu to lie in bed for several months instead of her. But, by comparison, But he found that this girl's technique of changing looks was even more novel and exquisite. Where did the girl learn all this? Of course, Yunchi is curious. But for this girl's temperament, but very understanding, should not ask. Ask more but not very good. This is not easy. Just let this little girl, a little change to him. Naturally, Yunchi is very smart and knows how to control the propriety. 9 winches, in fact, with your present strength, you don't need to go to college anymore. Cloud Dance hears speech, light a smile way. Grandfather, I naturally have the reason to go. As for the reasons, she did not intend to explain too much. Smell speech, Cloud she nods. Okay, wait a minute. I'll have the cheek to look for my old friend. I'm sure he will give me some face. But, girl, have enough fun. Don't forget to go home. After all, the Cloud family is your root. At the end, Yunchi looks at her with a smile and says something seriously. How can Yunwoo not understand the meaning of Yunchi's words? Glancing at Yunlingyi, Cloud Dance outlined the corner of his mouth. If there is a grandfather in the Cloud family, that's my root. This granddaughter is very clear. However, the implication is, she only knows Yunchi when she is at Yun's home. Her words, not surprisingly, made Yunlingyi's face seem to change slightly. Yunchi sighs at the bottom of his heart. It seems that it will take some time for this girl to accept the whole Cloud family. However, compared with the first time we met, we have made a lot of progress. At this time, Yunchi is smart and doesn't continue the topic. Instead, he turned his head and looked at the location of the entrance of the mountain. The 5 young men with loose eyes and lost souls. 9 winches. Are these 5 young people offending you? Yunwoo also looked at the 5 people, shrugged and said, No. No? Then you. Yunchi didn't go on. I didn't do anything, they just looked me in the eye, and that's it. To this question, Yunwoo gave a very direct answer. In fact, she really didn't do anything. However, the words of Cloud Dance fell. Yunlingyi, who had been silent, frowned. You didn't do anything. How could they be like this? Just look her in the eye. Who will believe this sentence? Hearing the voice of Yunlingyi, Yunwoo's eyes flashed, and the corners of his mouth outlined slightly. It seems that General Yun doesn't believe it very much. As soon as Yunchi heard her voice, he felt bad. I'm going to talk to ease the atmosphere between their father and daughter. But at this time, a figure passed directly in front of Yunchi's eyes. In the twinkling of an eye, Yunwoo has stood in front of Yunlingyi, and her purple eyes directly meet the black eyes of Cloud Lingyi. Light purple fog suddenly spread from the cloud that pair of purple pupil. At that moment, Yunlingyi's heart trembled. Brush in the eyes had a sense of surprise. This want to move the line of sight. However, as if the soul in that second, directly by the pair of purple pupil to suck in, black pupil, gradually enlarged and lax. All this happened very quickly. 9 winches, stop. Don't go too far. Even if he has something wrong with you, he is also your own father. Blood is thicker than water. Yunchi comes forward and drinks, trying to stop Yunwoo. But before his hand touched the Cloud Dance, he was bounced away by a strange force. At that time, the shadow of Bai Lao clearly appeared in front of Yunchi's eyes. Since it's their father's and daughter's business, don't interfere. Bai Lao, speak deeply. When Yunchi saw Bai Lao, who suddenly appeared from the void, he was obviously a little surprised. He couldn't feel that there were other people in the cave. You are. However, Bai Lao did not answer him. But the figure disappeared in front of Yunchi's eyes. Yunchi's pupil shrinks. What's going on? Just now, he is not dazzled, is he? Looking at the white shadow in the air, there is a kind of emotional fluctuation in Yunchi's heart. However, at this time, the voice of Cloud Dance is faint from his ear. Grandfather, what are you looking at? After hearing this, Yunchi seemed to come back. Yunchi is also at this time, quickly turns his eyes and looks at Yunwoo and Yunlingyi. See, Cloud Dance has already removed the eye. Cloud Lung-yi, at this time, is looking at him with a smile. It seems that everything just happened is just fantasy. But, Yunqi seems to suddenly understand something, and his eyes are surprised. This girl's side unexpectedly still has the high person to guard? Grandfather, it's getting late. Should we be able to start? Yunwu looks at Yunqi and says with a smile. As for the surprise in his eyes, she didn't seem to see it. Actually, Yunqi's words, "In the end, or let cloud dance," did not go down. Blood is thicker than water? I hope this sentence won't make her regret in the future. After she takes back Zedong, Yunlingji's pupil begins to slow down. But let him have a headache to crack. Let him can't help but dull hum a rub forehead. However, at this time, Yunlingyi's heart is in shock. Her eyes really have that strange power. Left the cave. The rain outside is still falling. 3 people, holding 3 oil paper umbrellas, walking towards the city in the heavy rain. However, it does not seem abrupt at all, because as soon as I got close to the gate, as soon as I saw, in the heavy rain, many people gathered from all the roads, ready to enter the city. It seems that the enrollment of the Shenwang Samurai Academy may be an unprecedented event for the people of the Zhou dynasty. When you enter the city, cloud dance can be regarded as a real insight into the prosperity of Lingxing. The architecture is a bit of a tired Roman style, with oval, triangular roofs. Even in a rainy day, it also appears to be a special beauty. Along the streets in the city, there are rain curtains and all kinds of goods. Perhaps some hawkers are set up to welcome people from all over the world to register for this year. This can mean when we can make a fortune. Because there are so many people gathering, even in the rain, there are still a lot of people coming together to choose. However, fortunately, the heavy rain didn't last all the time. When Yunwu 3 people, through those busy streets, came to a place where everyone gathered, the sky began to clear up gradually. Although, the sky is still some dark clouds. But after the rain stopped, it obviously made many people feel more and more high. Especially, when the people gathered in the open space saw the towering gate, they were all excited. King Samurai Academy. The 6 characters are like symbols of great glory. I came here today. Naturally, they are all candidates who have been disqualified by their tutors in advance. However, the enrollment of Shenwang Samurai College is much stricter than other colleges. The candidates belong to the candidates, but they are not real students. The whole Zhou dynasty knew it. Shenwang Samurai College enrollment. Students before admission, there is still a selection. Only through the selection, get the college is the distribution of the badge. Only in this way can we formally enter the college and become the students of the King Warrior. Therefore, many people are coming today. This spacious square is estimated to hold as many as 5,000 people. But now, it's almost full. In addition to some accompanying family members, it is estimated that there are also students ranging from 1,000. Cloud Dance looked at such a crowded scene, frowned. In this case, when we get to the front, it's estimated that we'll have to go from day to night. Girl, there are too many people here. You wait here. I'll go to the front to look for my old acquaintance and see if there is a back door. Yunqi frowned when he saw the scene. However, his loud voice is not very low-key. See, he that words fall, the vision of the people around, brush of sweep to come over. At the sight of Yunwu's pale and sick face, every one of them was infected with a look of boredom. It turned out to be a diseased boy who wanted to go through the back door. They are so easy to get into the King Warrior Academy. Can anyone go through the back door? No one knows that Shenwang Samurai Academy is not only strict in selecting students, but also does not allow anyone to go through the back door. Now, I heard the old man say in a loud voice that he wanted to find his old friends and go through the back door. I really don't know the so-called person. Yes, of course. For those disdainful eyes cast around, Yunqi directly ignores them. Body shape a jump, twinkling of an eye, quickly toward the square in front of the gate. In such a crowded scene, Yunqi's behavior naturally attracted the attention of countless people. However, it is obvious that the person concerned seems immune to the sight of others. And for those who are immune to sight, there's another one. That's Cloud Dance. After Yunqi left, Yunwu really didn't plan to squeeze in, so he just stayed where he was. Waiting, Yunqi brings back the backdoor news. She doesn't mind the back door. Anyway, when she entered the college, She was just looking for the map of the calling temple. As long as she finds it, she naturally has no interest in studying in the college. She has a lot to do. However, Yunlangi, who follows Yunwu, seems not used to the sight. As if, with his identity and status, he was looked down upon. However, although he was not used to it, he didn't say anything. Half a ring. Yunqi's loud voice came from the front door. 9 winches. Come here quickly. Come to interview first. It's just under Yunqi's loud voice. The whole square was in an uproar. On the noisy square, there was a sudden silence. Almost at that moment, the whole square was so quiet that a needle could be heard falling. Interview? Isn't it time to start the selection of colleges? How can someone interview first? But in such silence, Cloud Dance is quite direct, just like that from the crowd through the past. See only, she goes forward. The person that is crowded ahead can give way to a way automatically. Just like that, in full view of the public. Came to the majestic gate of the Samurai Academy. Yunqi is standing in front of a side door beside the gate, talking with a white-haired old man, as if discussing something. And at the sight of Cloud Dance, Yunqi quickly pulls Yunwu over, grinning and saying to the white-haired old man, Liuzi, this is my precious granddaughter. After entering the college, you have to take care of her for me. I've seen people go through the back door, but no one has ever seen them go through the back door so openly in front of thousands of people. What's going on? Dear, if you want to interact with the world, you can add QQ Reader Group 4819099434. This time, Yunqi said as if he was really satisfied. After that, he talked to her a few more words before he was willing to leave. Seeing the father and son leave, Yunwu turns around and walks towards the side door. As soon as he approached, a deep voice came. Name, age, talent, rank, skill. Cloud Dance looked at Wu Qing, and the faint voice answered, Cloud Dance, 15 years old, 0 talent, 0 level, 0 skill. Wu Qing, who is writing to register, immediately stops writing with a frown. At this time, he looked up at the Cloud Dance, and the fundus of his eyes was obviously the color of disdain. He couldn't have missed the scene just now. Unexpectedly, this kind of zero waste can be recommended to the college by the royal family. However, when such people come to the college, they are only sent back after half a year. A waste? How can let people in the eye? Lift Mao disdained to glance at Cloud Dance one eye. Wu Qing then in that record book, big brush up a 0. Immediately, then waved a hand, impatient way, passed, go to next round. For his attitude, Cloud Dance quietly sneered. Just as he was about to walk inside, a rather sarcastic cold laugh came from behind him. Even this kind of all kinds of zero waste, the college even recruited in. The style of the college is really getting worse and worse. I saw a few young men and women walking along another deserted road in the square. One by one, they are gorgeous and noble. They look like they have a lot to do with each other. And just opened. It is the leader of a gorgeous dress woman. Hearing the sound, Wu Qing turned his head and looked at the people coming. Originally also frowned face. In a see the leading woman, suddenly raised a smile. Is that the 5th lady of the 5th generation? The gorgeous woman, with a trace of pride between her eyebrows, put the letter in her hand on the table where Wu Qing was sitting. This is the letter from the dean to let me enter the university. Have a look. When Wu Qing heard the words on the letter, he immediately laughed. As for the admission of the 5 big girls, the dean has already informed us. Register the basic information here, and then go to the next round of bone searching confirmation, and you can get the badge for admission. When Wu Qing said it carefully, he opened the refined book on the other side. This attitude is quite different from that of these information books, but it is quite different from that of the time when Cloud Dance was just treated. Miss 5, you. Wu Minner glanced at the information in the book, and before Wu Qing finished, he spoke haughtily. Wu Minner, 18 years old, has the talent of blue level, the middle of the 5th level, and the dual attributes of fire and wood. The middle of the fifth order at the age of 18? Return fire with double attribute? You know, it's hard to find the dual attribute of the same body, and the fire and wood of the same body is even more rare. Because in this world, there is another profession, which is extremely noble and rare. That's the pharmacist. To become a pharmacist, there is a very harsh condition. That is to say, fire and wood are required to be the same. Among thousands of people, it is estimated that there will be a dual attribute entity, while among thousands of people with dual attributes, there will be a dual attribute of fire and wood that agrees with the requirements. This is one of the reasons why pharmacists are so rare and noble in the whole mainland of China. Wu Qing's hand with the pen seemed to tremble. Look up, in the eyes appear a burst of surprise shock will die. Straight looked at the eye that 5-minute sun. This girl is really against the sky. No wonder even the director of the hospital attaches so much importance to her. In fact, this side door is really a back door. However, the threshold of this back door is much higher than that of that one, because they all hold the letters of the president. Only when you enter through this door can you avoid queuing up. And Yunwu, the trash who goes through the back door, can only be regarded as being brought along. However, for Wu Qing's reaction, Wu Min'er is obviously satisfied. Her natural ability, absolutely nobody after hearing, does not show that kind of shocking expression. However, just as she is ready to go forward, 5-Min'er's eyes suddenly cooled down. Originally, Cloud Dance just heard the 5-minute sun's tone of voice, stop the footstep, slant the head of looking at them. When hearing Wu Min'er's proud autobiography, Cloud Dance from head to tail, it seems that there is not much expression, just the corner of the mouth slightly raised a smile, light like watching. Just, she saw a pair of, see a play expressionless appearance. Let that 5-minute sun in the heart inexplicably rose a bad feeling. She's a waste. Why can't you see that she doesn't have any inferiority expression? I dare to laugh. Almost at that moment, 5-Min'er walked up. Without saying anything, he raised his hand directly and fanned Yunwu's pale and sick face. Looking at the sudden slap, Yunwu's eyes were cold. A little step back, through the wind of slapping, passing in front of her close at hand. Lost. However, in the eyes of the public, they didn't see that Yunwu had moved at all. They just stood like that. It's just that 5-Min'er's slap didn't hit. However, 5-minute sun but pupil tiny shrink for a while, looking at Cloud Dance in the eyes of Flit over meaning a silk of doubt. She saw that she was going to slap her, but how could she wave it down? But it failed. The position of Cloud Dance seems a little far away. What's going on? However, 5-minute sun, just that high-profile voice, early attracted countless eyes. Her slap at Cloud Dance naturally attracted the attention of the tutor on the other side of the gate. What's the matter? Old Liuzi, with a dignified face, came to inquire. Seeing this, Wu Qing said respectfully, "It's okay. It's just a small problem. Deal with it right away." Although Yunwu is a waste, the tutor and director are old friends with her grandfather. Just now, he was told to take care of her. It's really not good to make noise before entering the school. Wu Qing stepped forward, then gave a cold glance. What are you doing here? Go to the next round. Cloud Dance raised eyes to glance at that Wu Qing one eye. Just one eye. Unexpectedly let Wu Qing involuntarily hit a chilly quiver. The bottom of the heart inexplicably flustered. What's going on? How can the eyes of that trash make him feel like he's infiltrating? Not enough. This kind of strange idea was soon withdrawn, because he did not believe that a waste can have any eyes. It must be that he was too thoughtful. Cloud Dance takes back the line of sight. The corner of the mouth is still that smile. Turn around, then walk toward inside. Seeing this, Wu Min'er gives a glance to the 5 children behind him. See, at that moment, other people forward, deliberately hit open Cloud Dance, clear out an empty way out. Wu Min'er looks cold and arrogant, glances at the Cloud Dance which is blocked to one side. A waste dare to steal the front with me, hum. A cold hum falls down. 5-minute sun then step on that pace, toward inside walked into. But I didn't think about it. As soon as he came to Yunwu, he suddenly turned his foot, almost directly, and knelt down on his feet. Cloud Dance looked at Wu Minner with a morbid smile and said politely, "Miss Wu, you are so sincere and devout to the college. Before entering the college, you knelt down so much. No wonder the dean will value you so much." Just as the teacher in front of Yunwu lowered his face, a low and dignified voice came from behind. "She's on royal recommendation. Just test as usual." After Liuzi came in, his eyes were locked on Yunwu, and he didn't come forward in person. It turned out to be a royal recommendation. But this year, the royal family recommended this kind of qualification, but it's really when the tutor saw that the director had spoken, he naturally didn't say much. Instead, Chaoyan Dance stretched out her hand and said, "Hand out." Cloud Dance also stretched out a hand to pass. She only felt that at the moment when the tutor held her wrist, a faint force came from that wrist. Then, that strength, along with the tendons on her wrist, poured into her whole body. Cloud Dance feels that the faint power in the body is searching for the feeling, quietly picked eyebrows. This is called bone touching? It's obviously a test of her strength. However, Cloud Dance is also silent, as the power to explore. About a minute. The tutor then took back his hand, shook his head coldly, picked up the pen, and recorded a stroke in the book. Just looked up at Cloud Dance and said coldly, "There are 5 test stones with different properties on the table. Let's reach out and touch them." Anyway, her whole body has no fluctuation of any strength, no cultivation. It is estimated that all items are really 0. Also did not ask her what attribute, said perfunctorily. She is recommended by the royal family. Even if the indicators are 0, the quota will be counted as her. It's just a waste of the quota. Yunwu looks at the 5 stones on the table. To be honest, it doesn't look much different. It seems different from the test stone in her memory. Anyway, it's perfunctory. Cloud Dance is perfunctory. Without choosing any order, it just reaches out and touches 5 of them. It's very fast. I don't feel much. The 5 identical-looking stones on the original table just seem to flash a little bit of color fluctuation. It's just a little bit. If you don't look at it carefully, you can't see it. The tutor gave a cold and lazy glance, then drew back his eyes, picked up the pen, and wrote a 0 on the record. Yunwu didn't care much. I thought it should be done like this. But at this time, the tutor's words were not finished. A dazzling color light suddenly burst out on the spot. The glare of the multicolored light almost made Yunwu jump. What's going on? I can see that the light from the 5 stones is extremely pure and dazzling, colorful side by side, just like a rainbow, very beautiful. However, this scene shocked more than 20 tutors, one by one staring at Yunwu. When the 5 attributes test is started, it means that a person has 5 attributes. And the brighter the light is, the purer the attribute body in the human body will be, which also represents the talent of learning skills in the future. In front of my eyes, the colorful light was dazzling. What's going on? Isn't this girl saying that all her indicators are 0 waste? How can these 5 attribute test stones emit such light? Is the latest test stone returned by the dean broken? However, the old man Liuzi, who had been watching, turned his eyes from fiery to red. Excited, but almost not full of blood filled the eyes. At this time, the test stone used by the college is the latest test stone that the college has just obtained. It does not need to be the same as before. It needs a tribute injection to distinguish. Instead, just touch the person and get a breath, and the test stone will test directly. It's absolutely impossible to cheat. Now, 5 test stones touched by that girl are all bright. That means that this girl has 5 attributes? 5 attributes, that's 5 attributes. How evil is this girl? The tutor who tested for Cloud Dance is expected to be more shocked than others, because he felt that his eyes could not be opened, and the abundant attribute breath almost surrounded him. I was shocked. The girl in front of me is for a moment. The light gradually faded away, and when the light completely disappeared, the tutor in front of Yunwoo, almost shaking, tore the record again and wrote down the adverse record of 5 attributes on the next page. You can go to the side to get the badge and school uniform. This time, the voice is not cold, but inexplicably trembling and excited. Cloud Dance really miscalculated in the present situation. However, the matter has come to this point, and I didn't say much. Turn around, ready to go to the side to get the badge school uniform, this turn, but ushered in the face of the old man excited and laughing. Girl, your grandfather and I have been friends for decades. It's as good as wearing a pair of trousers. Let's go. How about I take you to see the dean? Old Liuzi, at this time, has changed his former seriousness and become extremely kind. The image contrast is too big. Let the people who see on the scene can't help but some consternation. The director is too much. Yunwoo looked at the Liuzi old man and said with a polite smile, my grandfather said, be honest. When I become very strong one day, I will see the dean. It's not good to go through the back door. What? Isn't it good to go through the back door? Just don't know who. So above board pull big voice to walk through the back door. Now she says it's not good to go through the back door. She obviously refuses to see the dean. I'm afraid that Wu Minner, who is still testing in history, when she shows the firewood attribute. Because after the dazzling light of Yunwoo before, I suddenly feel so gloomy when I see her brilliance. Originally expected shock and admiration envious eyes seems to have gone. This makes 5 Minner feel that the balance in the bottom of his heart has got a serious gap, and his anger at Yunwoo rises in the bottom of his heart. However, for her How mood, another change of Cloud Dance, cannot feel completely. At this time, Yunwoo is walking slowly in the college. With the information in his mind, he wants to search for the approximate location of the map. The environment in this college is quite beautiful. Flowers, trees, and green lawns can be seen everywhere along the way. For a samurai academy, this kind of green road really makes people feel comfortable. However, when Yunwoo searched for the location along the general direction, he found that the deeper he went to the college, the more lush the vegetation around him, and the aura in the air is more and more abundant. Although Cloud Dance has not yet detected the location of the map of the summoning temple, it can be inferred that there must be something deep in this college. I don't know if it's class time. I don't see any students walking around. Cloud Dance also along the direction of the lush vegetation, across the avenue, toward a remote grove in the college. As soon as I stepped into the forest, the hall of chaos in my mind, ding a sound, and gradually there was movement. If you can make Chaos Temple open, it means that the aura in the air is absolutely pure. However, before Yunwoo really walked in, a sudden voice came from behind. Little girl, this forest is not for freshmen. Go back. The Cloud dances in a flash, frowning and turning. I saw a man in his early 30s standing behind her. The man was not very handsome, but he was also very pleasant. He was dressed in plain white, but he didn't have that gentle temperament. On the contrary, he had a sense of inexplicable dignity. When did the man appear behind her? Cloud Dance can't help but secretly vigilant for a while, looked at him, didn't feel the power breath fluctuation from him. It seems that the strength of this man has surpassed her. Who are you? Yunwoo asked him. The man heard the words, raised the scissors in his hand, gardener in the college. I am responsible for the maintenance of this forest. The little girl should be a freshman who has just entered the college. Gardener? The strength has surpassed the tutor director's gardener. Who believes that? However, the Cloud Dance is still silent. Nodded. Yes. Freshmen report that they need to go to the Educational Administration building to register, and then there will be tutors to arrange accommodation classes. How did you get to the opposite direction of the Educational Administration building? The man looked at Yunwoo. There seems to be a trace of dignity in the low voice of inquiry. Just entered the school, lost? Yunwoo raised the sick face slightly and said it seriously. The man looked at Yunwoo, and then he pointed to the path behind him. After going out from here, you can see a main road. Going out along the main road, You can see the Educational Administration building in a short time. Cloud Dance looked at him and said with a smile, "Thank you." With that, Yunwu followed the direction of the man and left slowly. However, when passing by the man, she was still careful. I found that there was a strange smell on the man, like as soon as the idea in Cloud Dance's mind passed by, it suddenly raised eyebrows. Then, the corner of the mouth quietly outlined a strange arc, a very small arc, but no extreme cold. Is the power of the Beast Gate really infiltrated into this King Warrior Academy? Or, the people of the Beast Gate also found that one of the treasure maps of the Summoning Temple is also in this college? Whatever the reason, it seems that we have to find a way to find the map before the people of the Beast Gate find it. Just after Yunwu left, the man also frowned slightly. That little girl's breath, unexpectedly so weak, but can appear in this King Warrior Academy? This year's enrollment standard of this college has been lowered so low, isn't it? After leaving the woods, Yunwu followed the direction just pointed by the man. Now that you know there's something there, you don't have to be in a hurry. Don't panic. However, just as Yunwu walked on the college avenue, many new students just came in from the square. As soon as Yunwu came out, many freshmen, who were still looking around, suddenly seemed to see something, and all the voices stopped. All eyes are locked on Yunwu, and the disdain and irony in his eyes are obvious. Isn't this Miss Yun Jiajiu who used her family relationship to go through the back door not long ago? At this time, a sneering voice came from the group of freshmen. When one person opens his mouth, others will laugh. Yes, it turns out that it's Miss Nine who is a waste of General Yunda's family. No wonder she has to go through the back door. If she can enter the college normally, I'm afraid she can only wait for her next life. Haha, it's no use saying that. However, it's something that other people can't envy. You know, the father of a general, you think everyone has it. That's right. Haha. One person a laugh, in a group of people chirping ring. There's no taboo at all. In their eyes, in front of this sick waste, there is really nothing to avoid. Even if she had a father of a general, so what? The King of God and Samurai Academy here, even the King of Heaven Lousy, has to follow the rules of the Academy after entering the Academy. There is an unwritten rule in the Samurai Academy. That is to see who is not pleasing to the eye, can directly challenge the fist. The college also likes the fight between students. Because in this world of martial arts, the fist of strength is the real truth. However, the challenges among the students need to stop. If we really need to fight, we need to judge in the presence of the tutor. Sign a life and death deal. In the future, the families of both sides will never be allowed to be held responsible. Therefore, after entering the college, these freshmen are also rookies. However, in the face of such a rubbish as Yunwu, they can crush her to death with their fingers. What can they avoid? What can I do for you? Cloud Dance did not answer a rhetorical question. My name is Yejing. I'm from Lucheng. I heard that you were from Yunda General's military mansion. Your strength must be good. Then we can cooperate and play together. The girl in white introduced herself with a friendly face. Working together? The cloud dances and hears the speech. The corner of the mouth slightly raises a touch of radiant. Have you never heard of me? What happened? What's the situation? Night Static doubts to say, obviously for just those sarcasms seem not to hear. However, at this time, some freshmen behind the sarcasm came. All the ladies in General Yun's mansion are good. Unfortunately, the one you are looking for is the most useless one in the whole Zhou dynasty. That's to say, we still play together, haha. Night Static listened to ask, that originally and friendly face, obviously slightly some unhappy up. She just came in a hurry and didn't know about the square before. Just overheard that the girl was a miss of General Yunda's military mansion. Naturally, it would not be too bad. So I thought, let's see if we can cooperate to form a team. In this way, we can have a comparative advantage in the college. But those new words, but let her can't help but glance at Cloud Dance. The whole body looked at one. When he felt that the breath was weak, he frowned slightly and asked, "What color is your talent? What's the level now?" "Zero talent, zero level." Cloud Dance at this time is not stingy answer. Zero. I saw that the night was quiet and friendly, and my face suddenly changed. Then, there was a slight disdain in his eyes. Then, with a third-order crest in her hand, she fanned a little hotly, and her tone suddenly became cold. "That's okay. Although I really want to cooperate with the young lady of General Yun's military mansion in the Imperial City, it seems that we have different identities. Let's wait for a chance later." With that, Yejing didn't say anything. Quite arrogantly took back his eyes, turned around and walked quickly towards the Educational Administration building. And behind her are 3 girls of the same age, all of whom are at the beginning of the 3rd level, or at the 2nd level. It should have just been put together. Originally, in enrollment, high-quality students can get the badge directly from the test tutor. On the badges, there are signs representing their own levels. And the mediocre can only lead the school uniform that get no sign of that ordinary badge. What Yunwoo got is ordinary, but she didn't notice. When she got the school uniform and badge, she threw it directly into the space. This little girl's tone is really arrogant. "Girl, do you tolerate it like this?" At this time, Bai Lao's voice came from Yunwoo's mind. Tolerance? Cloud Dance smell speech. The corner of the mouth smile arc deepened a trace. This kind of forbearance, I don't think it will take long. I won't go to them. They will send it to the door automatically. White Old One hears, silent for a while, just inexplicably asked a sentence. "So you're going to show your face?" Cloud Dance whispered with a smile, "Bai Lao, it's not that I've been able to bear it, but that these people are not qualified to let me do it." If she didn't have a little patience, she would be furious at such a provocation. It is estimated that her enemies will come to her before she finds what she wants. Forbearance sometimes is the real strength of the state. White Old Herd seems to be very satisfied with the point headway. "Yes, you a girl young age, have such a calm heart, is really very rare. By the way, did you feel anything special about that forest?" Cloud Dance asked by the way. "No, I don't have any special feeling except that I have plenty of aura. However, the smell of that man is very strange, with a strong animal spirit. During your deep sleep, a lot has happened. I'll explain it to you when I have time." Well, in front of Yunwoo, Yejing is still so proud and arrogant. I don't know what kind of expression she will have when she knows Yunwoo's real strength. It should be. It's worth looking forward to. However, at this time of Cloud Dance, for those people is what reaction, not much feeling. With those more and more freshmen, they walked slowly towards the crowded Educational Administration building. Although there were many people, they were more crowded than those outside the city gate, and now they entered in an orderly line. There are more than 10 young men and women in their 20s guarding the open space at the entrance of the Educational Administration. Everyone was wearing a yellow school uniform with the college badge pinned to their chest. This is the school uniform of the 2nd and 3rd year students of Shinwang Samurai College. See those holding by the tutor to get the badge of high-quality students. Will specially signal them to the other side of the less crowded channel to get on the Educational Administration building registration report. And those students who only have ordinary badges can only go to the front door of Educational Administration, where there are many people queuing up to enter. Yejing walks in front and seems to hook up with Wu Min'er. At this time, several people are following behind the 5 Min'er. However, when we go to the special treatment channel to enter, Wu Min'er suddenly turns her head slightly and glances at the Cloud Dance in the queue. There is a sneer in her eyes. And Night Static is also turned head toward Cloud Dance disdain to glance one eye. That's the opposite of being friendly. How can the Cloud Dance in the queue not notice their defiant and provocative eyes? It's just, you don't see. As long as it is not provocative to her bottom line. For this kind of child nature of provocation, she really has little interest to pay attention to. How did you just get into college and get into trouble with the upper 5 families? And the quiet night? You have to be careful in the college in the future. Just when Yunwoo takes back her eyes and ignores by Yue Yuan's provocative eyes. Behind, but suddenly came a low voice. Cloud danced slightly a turn head, then Sia than her tall half-head of chubby girl. In his early 20s, he was chubby and cute, with pink cheeks and bright eyes. However, the figure seems to be more mellow. When I saw Yunwoo turning to look at her, I saw the fat girl grinning politely. At this moment, just see her chubby face, and a pair of dimples, set off, is more beautiful and lovely. My name is Ye Mo Yang. I'm half a night family member, but I'm just a servant girl of a concubine. This time I'm here for my lady. Come to college for your young lady? Originally, Yunwoo didn't care much, but after hearing the speech, she turned slightly and looked at her. The fat girl who claimed to be the center at the end of the night grinned again after introducing herself. Give a person a kind of unusual, cheerful, like refreshing feeling. Cloud Dance looked at her a few eyes, is also light raised corners of the mouth, said, "My name is Cloud Dance," politely back a sentence, and then turned his head in front of the eye. Cloud Dance? Are you the 9 young ladies of General Yunda's residence whom the freshmen are discussing? Yunwoo nodded, yes. At the end of that night, Yang seemed to want to say something else. However, it seems to feel that Yunwoo doesn't want to talk more, so he doesn't ask more. Waiting for about a long time. Finally, it's their turn. This educational administration building is very big. It is divided into 3 layers. And the registry, because the number of active, are divided into 3 levels. High-quality students are on the 3rd floor, medium-sized students are on the 2nd floor, and the most common ones are on the 1st floor. Yunwoo, which belongs to ordinary, is naturally on the 1st floor. Actually, it's very good. There's no need to climb the stairs. However, before registration, you need to pay 12 liang as the tuition fee, which does not include food and accommodation. Then, you can get the form and go to the registry. After Yunwoo came out of the registration room, he took a form in his hand and was ready to go to the registration office. It's just that I just got to the door of registration. I met Yejing and Wu Miner, who were all dressed in white. There were several followers behind them at the moment. It's very imposing. When Wu Miner's eyes catch a glimpse of the form in Yunwoo's hand, her beautiful face rises with a sneer. In the Shenhuang Samurai Academy, it's still very high-end. It's very clear about the high and low levels. Even the young lady of Yunda, General, has low strength and no special treatment. It's very good. She sighed night static here, cover mouth giggle a, step forward of blocked Cloud Dance way. Of course, waste is waste after all. How can you make something special just because you are the daughter of a general? However, when you come to the lowest level, it's a shame for General Yunda's military mansion. By the way, I heard that Yunxing the eldest lady of General Yunda, seems to be in this college. I don't know what grade she has reached. At least, it won't be the same as the 9th miss of the Cloud family. Ha ha. The voice of ridicule, you say a word, I say a word. Cloud Dance lifted Mao of Ci that block in front of her night quiet, after glancing at that 5-minute sun. As for the current situation, it is obvious who wants to provoke. However, to 5-minute sun that kind of person, she really does not raise what interest to come. Step slightly a turn. Also ignore that night quiet of, plan to bypass them. Can just mention step, night quiet but raised hand of again block in front of her. And 5-minute sun that way teases like voice to spread. Don't even call to shout to all beat a, walk like this? Is that how your Cloud family educated you? The Cloud dances mouse sun to slightly raise. The eye ground quickly passes a cold idea. But I haven't waited for her to move. At the end of the night, Yang came down the stairs on the 2nd floor. I saw this scene from a distance and rushed to it in 3 or 2 steps. Miss, she doesn't mean it. Don't give her the same opinion. At the end of the night, Yang didn't go to find out the situation, so he grabbed Yunwoo. That chubby body immediately blocked in front of the cloud. Looking at the night quiet grin, his mouth said, 5 minutes sun see that chubby night in center. Willow eyebrow immediately see you get up. She is who? Night static a see night in center. Facial expression a sync. That eyes obviously narrowed up. At the end of the night, don't forget your identity. You are just a humble servant in my family. Now you dare to stand out and rebel, don't you? Aye, miss, I didn't mean to contradict you. But, she is my friend. I will take her away from miss immediately. Do you think this is okay? Her weak words, but attracted the night quiet behind several people smile. Yejing looked at her with a scornful smile. You are a servant, and you deserve to talk to me about the conditions. Don't think that you can please my 3 younger sisters. If you do something for my father, you really take care of your family that night. Yes, I don't deserve it. However, before I came to the college, the owner specially told me to look at the young lady well. Then, the 3rd young lady also said before I came to the college that she wanted me to study well in the college, and then go back to teach her. Even if the young lady was not pleased with me, she would bear it for a while. I must be far away from you. Originally, it was a cold night. After hearing this, his brow suddenly wrinkled, as if he had some scruples. Finally, he turned his head and gave a look to Wu Minner. Just glancing at the end of the night, he waved his hand and said, in the face of the Cloud family, we won't care with you this time. How far is it now? If you show up in front of me next time, I won't deal with you. At the end of the night, Yang quickly nodded, yes, yes. Then, he took Yunwoo and rushed over them to the registration room at the other end. Yunwoo, how did you get into trouble with Yejing? They are not easy to be provoked. You. At the end of the night, Yang released Yunwoo and stared at her suspiciously. Did she provoke them? To tell you the truth, she really didn't know where to offend them. However, most of the time, she doesn't get into trouble, but trouble just likes to get into her. If, really to the limit of patience, she would not mind hand. However, for the end of the night, is she too enthusiastic about her, the trash that everyone dislikes? Cloud Dance looked at her, still choose silence. At the end of the night, Yang looked at her and didn't say a word. That small eyebrow suddenly wrinkled up. However, he continued, as soon as they entered the school, they had already recruited a lot of followers. I just heard that the students in this college can challenge you. Now they have so deep prejudice against you. I'm afraid they will challenge you, and then you will suffer. When Yan's Cloud Dance glanced at her again, the fat girl, it seems that she is really enthusiastic, but I really feel a little, however. Yunwoo didn't plan to stay here for a long time. I just want to find out the location of the summoning temple map. When I get it, it's time to leave. By the way, I've just asked. Miss Yun Shinger, should be your elder sister. She has been promoted to the inner courtyard to practice. In that case, you can't seek her protection. Youngsinger? Hearing such a name, I don't know why, Yunwoo has some impulse to sneer. Seek her protection, this idea, estimate even next life also don't need. If you can, for the Cloud Star, she is more interested in hands-on. At least, Yunshinger still owes her a debt. At the end of the night, Yang looked at the silent Cloud Dance and thought that she was worried about something. He could not help but comfort her. It doesn't matter. Although that night quiet is a bit unruly, you just need to dodge her when you meet her. Let's go and register first. At the end of the night, Yang said. He grabbed the form in Yunwoo's hand and went to line up for her first. After registration, the dormitory and class are arranged first. Not surprisingly, Cloud Dance was arranged at the end of the ordinary class. That class is also the worst one in the whole college. Most of the students who enter the college depend on some relationships. The next day, in the early morning, all the freshmen in the class should report to the class in the early morning, which is the regulation of the college. Only Cloud Dance did not appear. She's on sick leave. This may be the first student in history to report on the first day of school but ask for sick leave. However, the last class has turned a blind eye to this kind of situation. Anyway, they all rely on the back door and just deal with it casually. On the other side of the college, in the woods, at this time, a figure, with a strange speed, really quickly sneaked in. Today, under the cover of the White Witch power, Yunwoo just sneaked in under the eyelids of the man in white yesterday. Into the woods, along the spirit of the direction of the most broken fast forward. However, do not know. This walk found that this piece of forest is so wide and deep. With such a fast speed, it took more than half an hour to reach such a cliff. We can imagine how deep the forest is. Standing in front of this cliff, Cloud Dance can't help looking up. I found that I couldn't see the top of the cliff. The cliff was steep and straight. I couldn't even crawl. An aura is emitted from the cliff. Yunwoo wanted to fly up in the air to see how high the cliff is. However, I can feel that there is still an isolation hood over the sky. If I skim up, I must be found by the tutors in the college. Girl, this cliff is estimated to be very high. With your strength, you can't climb it yet. At this time, the voice of Bai Lao came to my mind. She can't be a great martial arts master now? How high is that? Cloud Dance frowns. Aura comes from the top of the mountain. There must be something, but at this time, however, a few footsteps came faintly. Cloud Dance is almost in that moment. The figure has light on the side of a big tree. Bai Laochi immediately covered her breath. I haven't found a way to go up for such a long time. An inexplicable low voice came. This is the barrier to enter the college. I've already circled the mountain, and I've looked for any way. I really can't go up quietly to protect the Dharma. Why don't you go back and tell the Lord that we can do it directly? In the college, it's not without our people. The voice of the man who spoke was obviously impatient. At this time, two figures came out from the other end of the cliff. The first one with a low voice was the man in white whom Yunwoo met yesterday. The other, a man dressed as a tutor, seems to be in his 30s and 40s. Come on, don't complain. The Lord's orders are reasonable. The voice of the man in white was rather cold. What if I can't find a way? Even if it doesn't work, the Lord has another plan. You just do your job well. Smell speech. This let aside still want to say what of man. Immediately I also dare not utter. It was not until they left that Yunwoo jumped down from the tree. For their conversation, Yunwoo naturally listened to them word for word. The inner courtyard of the college? On this cliff, is it the inner courtyard? Cloud Dance can't help but frown, because if she can't get in from here, she can only get a pass from the college. The so-called pass is nothing more than strength. Does she really need to? The stars were shining, and the moonlight poured through the window into the room. But it was clear that there was no trace of anyone in the room. This dormitory was originally for 4 people, but because the index of Cloud Dance was 0, it led to the most rubbish among the freshmen in the whole college. The dormitory was arranged, but no one wanted to share the dormitory with her. Taking this dormitory as an example, Yunwoo is the only one. However, it provides a close space for Cloud Dance. At night, she went directly into the Hall of Chaos and practiced on the cold ice jade that the huge Lanyu took out for her. The operation of the elixir aura was more than 10 times than usual. But Yunwoo also took this opportunity to throw a lot of good medicinal materials in the space on the cold ice jade. She doesn't need to plant it at all. As soon as the medicinal materials are thrown on the cold ice jade, they will grow up automatically, which seems to provide her with a medicine field that can be planted at any time. In addition, Cloud Dance has also been under the guidance of Hyo and started to try out how to use fire and wood elements to test pills. However, put it away, it's only a few days. Yunwoo can almost clearly feel that Yuan Li in her body has become more and more pure and powerful. There is even a sign of a breakthrough. Now her strength is the peak of a great martial arts master. If she breaks through, she will enter the martial arts sage. However, for this sense of impending breakthrough, Yunwoo did not take the initiative to make a breakthrough. At this stage, we need to wait for an opportunity and let it be. And this wait is waiting all night. Originally thought it would not break through, but just in the morning sun rose that moment. When the morning light fell, her body suddenly flashed out of the chaos hall with the morning light coming in. The body seems to absorb the energy of the morning light at that moment. The blood in the body and the feeling of vibration coming from the deep bone are also more and more intense. Later, it turned out to be Lin Yun's body, thinking that there was some vibration and creaking sound. Finally is to break through. Aware of this situation, Yunwoo couldn't help taking a deep breath, and his heart beat faster somehow. As long as the Yuan force in Dantian breaks through the bondage of the boundary, it will flow into the meridians of the whole body. At that time, she will be able to absorb the aura of heaven and earth from the Chaos Hall, so as to refine her body. That is also a very important step for Bai Lao to tell her to let her body evolve. Buzz. The vibration on the body is more and more intense. The whole bed seemed to be chirping, as if it was about to be broken. Suddenly, a strange and low muffled sound came from Yunwoo's body. And when this strange sound rang out, Yunwoo only felt that it was dark in front of her eyes. In a trance, she saw in her body, suddenly more than a transparent light ball gradually in her body flow up, as if there is a strange suction in the continuous gushing. Originally, cloud dance, because at this time, it is necessary to absorb the aura of heaven and earth from the Chaos Palace. However, at this time, her body suddenly gushed a strange suction. Almost at that moment, the aura of existence in the air around her gradually gathered towards her and began to get into her body. What's that? Shouldn't Yuanli be in Dantian? What happened to her? At this time, Yunwoo was completely under the condition of internal vision. Looking at her body, there was such a transparent ball of light. It was really strange. However, at this time, Bai Lao's voice of surprise came to her mind. Girl, did you break through the martial saint? Wusheng. Yes, she broke through, but this one in her body is at this time. The voice of Black Pride was also quite surprised. It's Juyuandan. It usually appears only when you break through Wuzuan and take off the mortal body. I didn't expect that you just break through Wusheng and have already condensed Juyuandan. This girl, perhaps earlier than those which saints of all ages, maybe, she is thinking of that possibility. Hayo in the dead door, the huge body nailed to the ground, seemed to tremble for a moment. However, Cloud Dance can't see this reaction. After hearing the words of Hayo, Yunwoo couldn't help staring at the group of light. Juyuandan? Although she didn't quite understand what it was, it would only be generated when she broke through Wuzuan and took off the mortal body. Even if she didn't understand it, she knew something absolutely terrible. However, the light mass in her body seems to be sucking the aura of the outside world, and it is still growing. Is this a good phenomenon? However, Yunwoo suddenly knows that even after breaking through Wuzuan, most people still need to get in and get rid of the difficulty of ordinary body to produce Juyuan pill, and the top of Juyuan pill is just the size of little finger. But look at the Juyuan pill in her body now. It's more than 10 times more than normal people when it appears, and it's still growing. What does that mean? I'm afraid as long as a discerning person is present, he will lose his chin and eyes. But at this time Cloud Dance, but absolutely a layman. In addition to the heart of joy at the beginning, it should be taken for granted. Girl, did you have Juyuandan in your body? At this time, Bai Lao seems to be aware of the changes in Yunwoo's body, and his eyes are strange and surprised. The girl really surprised him more and more. Especially, looking at the Juyuan pill in her body, she was still absorbing the spiritual power of the outside world. When it was growing, she was surprised again. However, Yunwoo did not have time to answer Bai Lao. because all of a sudden, she felt all consciousness, as if she was suddenly pulled away by something. In the dark, she looked up and fell down. However, at the moment when her consciousness disappeared, what she thought was that she had made a breakthrough. Maybe she could take the initiative tomorrow. When the people of Wan Shoumin enter Newei College, they must first step in and get the map. However, Yunwu didn't know. Just at the moment when she fainted, a strange, strong suction in her body suddenly burst out. The aura of heaven and earth around a student dormitory was all rushed into Yunwu's body in that second. That group of light filled the whole body of Cloud Dance, tightly wrapped. And at that moment, the aura of heaven and earth in the Chaos Hall, also corresponding to each other, suddenly gushed out, starting from the meridians of her whole body, began to refine. White light quickly gathered into the body of Yunwu, but it can be seen that under the skin of Yunwu, a layer of black stench impurities began to permeate rapidly. Layer by layer, continuous infiltration. Almost not long, the whole person of Yunwu was covered by that layer of black impurities. The stench filled the whole room. Fortunately, there is no one else in this room at this time. Otherwise, I will be shocked by the situation in front of me. However, it was the moment when the aura around the freshmen's dormitory disappeared. Somewhere in the college, a young man suddenly opened his eyes, and a look of surprise flashed through his eyes. All the auras are gone? Who broke through Wuzuan? Immediately, then see that figure, uncanny, disappeared on the spot. In the dark, a figure appeared in the twinkling of an eye above the freshman dormitory, squinting at the quiet dormitory below. Take this dormitory building as the center point, with a radius of 100 meters. All the aura of heaven and earth is clear. Within the college, the aura of heaven and earth is much thicker than that of the outside. All of a sudden, so much aura has been absorbed. Who is breaking through? Or, is there any master lurking in this freshman dormitory? Just when the young man squinted to detect the whole dormitory building, a figure came from a distance in a hurry. And at the sight of the young man, old Liuzi, the director of the college's tutor, came forward respectfully. "Dean, aren't you going behind closed doors? How did you get out?" The young man, the dean of the college, Chima. He turned his head and looked at the willow. "Do you feel it, too?" Liuzi reacted, and suddenly his face became more rigorous. "Yes, I just felt the aura in this direction, and it disappeared for a long time. I didn't expect that you were already there when I first came here, Dean. Have you found anyone to absorb the aura now? This kind of aura is suddenly disappeared. Generally, someone has broken through. Moreover, the strength of those who break through is absolutely not low." Chima glanced at the dormitory building below and shook his head. No, he almost detected the whole dormitory building, but did not feel any strong atmosphere. With his strength, no matter how deep the breakthrough person is hidden, it is impossible to even hide the breath. But he detected it several times, and it was just the rebirth of some weak bodies. However, if he knows, the so-called expert who just broke through. In fact, he was stunned by his sudden strong suction. At this time, he was wrapped by the black impurity stench and was sleeping to death. I don't know if he would vomit blood, but at this time of Liuzi, inexplicably, a strange idea flashed through my mind. By the way, Dean, the college just enrolled students a few days ago. There is a new student with special strength. Liuzi, I just want to tell you about Yunwu. By the way, it's related to that little girl. However, before Liuzi finished his words, a strange wave suddenly came from below. Although the hidden is very good, but with the strength of praying, how can you hide his eyes? Who is the master? You don't need to hide when you appear in our college. Come out and meet me. His voice suddenly fell from the air like a megaphone. Hiding the shadow in the dark, after hearing the sound, he turned and left immediately. As soon as Chima and Liuzi saw each other in the air, they immediately swept down the air and quickly caught up with each other. The next morning, at the end of the night, Yang came to knock on the door. "Yunwu, get up quickly. I'll tell you, your fiancé." At the end of the night, Yang knocked on the door in a hurry. Seeing that he didn't respond for a long time, he seemed to be burning his ass and hit the door directly. However, As soon as the door was opened, the stench came suddenly. Almost at that moment, at the end of the night, he held his breath and covered his nose. What stinks so much? Although the stench was really enough to make people ashamed, at the end of the night, Yang seemed to be very worried and rushed in. But very quickly, by the situation in front of me to the stupid eye. A mass of black things, lying on the bed. And the smell of the whole room came from the black stuff on the bed. That stink is as bad as coming out of a cesspit. However, it was also the loud noise that she just hit the door that woke up the people on the bed. Cloud dance body abnormal comfortable, an instinctive stretch. However, it's okay to move. There's something close to her skin all over her body. Immediately, a stench rushed into her nose. What is it? So smelly? This mouth, full of stench, immediately let her a nausea. Body suddenly rolled up from the bed. At this time, Yunwoo finally saw his dark hand, and the stench, that is, from her skin secreted by the black things sent out abnormal nausea. This is Cloud Dance dismay voice has not finished. In the brain came the white old voice. Your body has got the first layer of hardening. Those are the impurities of your own existence. Impurities in her body? What do you mean? Just say her body, however. Just when Yunwoo was in doubt, there was a sound of consternation in his ear. Yunwoo? Is that you? At the end of the night, Yang stares at the smelly black things. It's unbelievable. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.